Good morning, students. So in the last class, we have already discussed regarding adsorption, absorption, catalysis, everything we have discussed. Then today we'll discuss the most important part of surface chemistry, that is called colloidal solutions or colloids. So colloidal solutions. Or they are also called salts. So we have already read regarding solution. Solution consists of two components. The component which is present in lesser concentration is called solute, and the component which is present in higher concentration is called solvent. So solution contains clearly two components. Anything which is present in lesser quantity or lesser concentration is solute, and the substance which is present in higher concentration or higher quantity is called solvent. So based on the particle size, I have already told you that the solution can be of three types. Based on the particle size of the solute, so based on the particle size of the solute present in the solution can be of three types. What are they? The true solution, then colloidal solution, and suspension. So based on particle size, as you can see here, the solution can be of three types. So true, colloidal, and suspension. So that means you have to clearly remember the particle size in it. Remember the particle size of true solution is less than 1 nanometer. So those solutions where the particle size of the solute is less than 1 nanometer is called true solution. Then where the particle size is within the range of 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometer, this range is the colloidal range. So which we are going to discuss afterwards. So you have to remember 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometer. Suspension, the particle size will be greater than 1000 nanometer. Okay. So you know what is nanometer? Nanometer means 10 to the power minus 9 meter. Nanometer means 10 to the power minus 9 meter. So keep it in mind, nanometer. Less than 1 is true, 1 to 1000 is colloidal, then greater than 1000 is suspension. So as we move from true to suspension, what happens? Now only the particle size of the solute goes on increasing. So depending on the particle size, these three have different properties because their particle size are different from each other. Okay, so let us see what are the different properties of these three. How they can be differentiated from each other. How they are different from each other. Let us discuss these things. Okay. So first thing, here the particle size is the smallest one. Here the particle size is the medium one. And here the particle size is bigger one. Okay. And in this chapter, we will mainly discuss regarding colloidal solutions or colloids or salts. Okay. So first, how can we differentiate between them? Now first, we can differentiate between them by sedimentation. What is sedimentation? Suppose we take muddy water, mixing mud with water, that becomes muddy water. So if we keep it on the stove for long hours, what happens? If we keep it on the stove for long hours, what happens? Now the solute particles, they settle down automatically due to force of gravity. That is called sedimentation. That is settling of the solute particles automatically at the bottom due to force of gravity is called sedimentation. Okay. So true solution is a homogeneous solution. It never gets settled. That means it is not possible in the case of true solution that sedimentation is not possible. That means the solute particles are so small that they cannot be settled down. But here it can be settled. Sedimentation is possible because of relatively larger particle size. Sedimentation is possible with centrifuge. Centrifuge, you know, rotating at a very high speed so that the heavier matters they separate out away and get settled. So sedimentation is possible in case of colloidal solution when it is added with centrifuge. Then suspension automatically settles down because the particle size is so large that it automatically settles down. So possible, automatically sedimentation happens. So this is how mainly they are differentiated. So based on sedimentation. So have you seen the examples of these three? Have you ever gone through it? True solution, have you seen it? So when you mix your salt, common salt with water, it makes a true solution. Sugar with water, it makes a true solution. So sugar solution, salt solution, sugar solution, they are examples of true solution. Here the particle size is the smallest one, that means less than 1 nanometer. That's why they form a homogeneous mixture or homogeneous solution. So those substances which form true solutions are known as crystalloids. A question can be asked, what are crystalloids? So those substances which form true solution, example sodium chloride, salt, table salt, sugar, they form true solution, so they are called crystalloids because they form true solutions. They are known as crystalloids. Okay. Then have you seen any colloidal solution? You have seen it but do not know that they are colloidal solution. You must have seen smoke, dust. So they are the example of colloidal solutions. Smoke, dust, etc. They are colloidal solution. So here the particles, that means what particles? Solutes. They do not settle down easily. They are on a rampant motion or rampant movement called Brownian movement. Okay. So later on we will be discussing what are the specificness of colloidal solution. They undergo Brownian motion or Brownian movement. So example, smoke, dust, your milk, hair cream, they are all example of colloidal solution. Milk, hair cream, butter, cheese, everything what you consume, they are under colloidal solution. So you must be knowing what is the importance of colloids and why we are discussing this. Then suspension. So you must be using your antacid liquids. Heavily you are using, I know that. So have you ever seen when you take antacid, it is always told that shake well before use. Why? Because it is a suspension. Milk of magnesia is an example of suspension. Milk of magnesia. So you must have seen that whenever you take liquid antacid, that is milk of magnesia, you are directed to shake it properly because here the solid particles are larger in size. So when it is kept undisturbed, you must have seen that it clearly forms two layers. One, the bottom is the solute portion, the upper one is the solvent portion. So in this colloidal phase, we will be using different words, that is dispersed phase and dispersion medium. But you know that what we are using as solutes is the dispersion phase or dispersed phase, and what we are using as solvent is the dispersion medium. So here the solid particles, they settle down automatically at the bottom, and the solvent, they remain on the top. So that's why you use or you are directed to shake it well before using. So examples. So by now it must be clear to you what is a true solution, what is a colloidal solution, and what is a suspension. So purely you have to remember the particle size. So by the next class, all of you should remember the particle size. Less than 1 nanometer, true. 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometer, colloidal solution. Greater than 1000 nanometer is suspension. Now it must be clear to you. So next we'll discuss some points regarding these three. Okay, so next we'll compare between your true solution, colloidal solution and suspension. So next, comparison. How to compare them? So first, let us know on which basis they will be compared. Then we'll make 3 columns: true solution, colloidal solution, and suspension. So listen carefully as I will be asking you to write these things in details. Listen to me carefully. I will be asking you to write the comparison in details. So first, let us start. What is the first basis of comparison? Size of particle or particle solute. Particle size or size of the solute. Okay, particle size in true solution, what I told, is less than 1 nanometer. Colloidal solution, 1 to 1000 nanometer. Suspension, greater than 1000 nanometer. Then I have already given you examples. So next we'll discuss nature of the solution. Number 2 basis of classification is nature of solution. What is the nature of solution? I told you in case of true solution, it is homogeneous. That means we cannot differentiate between the two components. It is homogeneously mixed. So true solution is always a homogeneous solution. But these two are heterogeneous. You can clearly distinguish between two different components. So heterogeneous, it is also heterogeneous. Okay. Next, can you see through the true solution? If you look through the salt solution or sugar solution, you can easily see through it. So what is the next basis? Now, external appearance. External appearance. It is transparent. You can easily see through it. Transparent. Then you can easily see through the colloidal solution. So it is translucent. That means you can see through it partially, translucent or transparent. Then suspension, can you see through the milk of magnesia? No, it is opaque. It is opaque in nature. The next basis of classification is diffusion. How they can diffuse? So true solution have the smallest particle size. They can easily diffuse through parchment membrane. So here we will be using two types of membranes or two types of filters. So one is filter paper having bigger hole size, that is called filter paper, which are using in the laboratories. Another is parchment membrane. So membrane made from animal skins, that is called parchment membrane. So membrane made from animal skins is known as parchment membrane, having small hole size. Having small hole size is parchment membrane, and having intermediate hole size is your filter paper. So diffuse through parchment membrane. I will not repeat what is parchment membrane. I have already told you. So the membrane with small hole size made from animal skin is called parchment membrane. Okay. So because of the smallest size of the particle, the true solution can easily pass through or diffuse through parchment membrane. So here in case of medium particle size, they can diffuse through what? Filter paper. Then due to bigger size of the suspension, they cannot diffuse. They can't or do not diffuse. Can't or do not diffuse. Either through parchment membrane, neither through parchment membrane nor through your filter paper. Can't diffuse. You have to write down neither through parchment membrane nor through filter paper. The next basis is your sedimentation. I have already told you what is sedimentation. Now when any solution is kept undisturbed for several hours, what happens? Now the heavier matters, that is the solid particles, they settle down at the bottom due to force of gravity. So this process is called sedimentation. And I have already told you the true solution, in this case, sedimentation not possible. Sedimentation is not possible because of the homogeneous form of the solution. Here it cannot be sedimented. That means you cannot separate the solute and solvent. It cannot sediment. So sedimentation is not possible in the case of true solution. And here it is possible if it is added with centrifuge. If it is added with centrifuge, by sedimentation is possible. Sedimentation possible by centrifuging. That means rotating at a very high speed so that the heavier matter, they get separated from the solvent. The heavier particles, they get separated and settle down. So when sedimentation is added with centrifugation, then it is possible in the case of colloidal solution. But under normal conditions, they do not sediment. They do not settle down automatically because the colloidal particles, they are under a constant motion, zigzag motion, which we will discuss next. That is called Brownian movement or Brownian motion. In biology, you must have read regarding Brownian motion because it was discovered by Robert Brown. What he did, now he left some pollen grains in water and found that the pollen grains are in a constant zigzag motion. So after his name, the name of Robert Brown, that zigzag motion is known as Brownian motion or Brownian movement. So here the colloidal particles, because they carry charge, they do not settle down automatically. They are in a constant zigzag motion or Brownian motion. That's why they cannot settle down or they cannot sediment automatically. It has to be added with centrifugation because of the relative or intermediate particle size. What happens? Now they are sedimented with the help of centrifugation. Okay. Then in case of suspension, centrifugation is possible. Automatically it happens because of the large particle size. It happens automatically. Then visibility. Next basis of classification is visibility of the particle. Whether you can see the solute or not. Can you see the solute? That means when you add salt to water, can you find the salt? No, the solute we cannot find. So, not visible. In the true solution, the solid particle is not visible. In case of colloidal solution, the solute particle is not visible through naked eye. So, not visible through naked eye, but through electron microscope. I am not writing incomplete. You remember, but visible through electron microscope. That means by using electron microscope, you can see the solid particles in the case of colloidal solution, but not through your naked eye. Then it is visible. It is quite visible through naked eye. हम खाली आंखें में देखी परिबू. It is visible to naked eye. Okay. So next we will go for Brownian motion. or Brownian movement. Brownian motion or Brownian movement. What is that? Now, when the particles or the solutes, they are in the solvent, present in the solvent, they undergo zigzag motion or constant motion. And which type of particles they undergo it? Na, colloidal particles. Because of their intermediate size, they undergo spontaneous and continuous zigzag motion known as Brownian motion. And why it is called Brownian motion? Na, because it is named after the scientist Robert Brown, who discovered that the pollen grains, when left in water, they undergo constant zigzag motion, and that motion is called Brownian motion. जेहेतु सी एटा डिस्कवर करथिले ताको नाम अनुसार एटा को Brownian motion दिया हिची. Okay, so in case of true solution, because of the small particle size, here the Brownian motion is negligible. It is not observed, it is negligible. Okay, then only the colloidal particles, due to their intermediate size, they show Brownian motion. And the cause I have already told you, because the colloidal particles, they carry some charge, which keep on repelling each other, and they are bombarded with each other constantly. So settle down. So they make the solution stable. They make the solution stable. Why? Because they are under constant motion called Brownian motion, due to the charge carried by them and due to the bombardment between the colloidal particles. Okay, so Brownian motion is observed in the case of colloidal solution. In case of your suspension, because of the larger particle size, they start settling down. They do not undergo Brownian motion. That means what we write here? They may or may not show Brownian motion. Okay. Then last basis of classification is Tyndall effect, which is another important one. Tyndall effect. First, let us know what is Tyndall effect. So in daytime, have you ever slept in a room by shutting all the windows and doors? केबे गोटे अंधार करी गोटे रूम दिन बेले गोटे रूम रे सोईकी देखिछ कि जो कोनसी गोटे व्हेन देयर इज अ होल जो जा थ्रू रे सनलाइट आसुतिबो हैव यू एवर मार्क्ड सनलाइट कमिंग थ्रू ए स्लिट ए स्मॉल ओपनिंग टू ए डार्क रूम? इफ यस, यू मस्ट बी हैविंग आइडिया रिगार्डिंग टिंडल इफेक्ट. जो आसे रेट आसे देखिथिबो घर भीतर जो धूळीटा थाए, डस्ट इज एन एग्जांपल ऑफ colloidal solution कहि साइड चलली. तो डस्ट पार्टिकल जो थांती कांस्टेंटली देखिबो ताको बसनटा तबे यू कैन सी इट. So the visibility of those particles through illumination is called Tyndall effect. So when a light falls on the particles of the solution, then only in case of medium particle size, that is colloidal solution, it is observed. Tyndall effect is observed. It is not observed in case of true solution because the particle size is too small. In case of suspension, because they settle down early, here also it is negligible. Okay, but Tyndall effect is clearly shown in case of what? The colloidal solution. So Tyndall effect does not show the true solution, does not show Tyndall effect. Okay, so later on I will be discussing these things in details. So for the time being, what is Tyndall effect? Now, the illumination of the path of the particles by a light is called Tyndall effect. That means we can easily see the dust particles floating in the sunlight coming through the windows. Okay, so how can we see it? Because when light falls on those small particles, intermediate particles, they get reflected and we can see it. This effect is called Tyndall effect. That means the illumination of the path by light through when it passes through a solution is called Tyndall effect, which we will be discussing in details later on. So only the colloidal solution shows Tyndall effect. But as I told you, so when the particle will settle down early, it cannot reflect light. Light will not fall on it. Before light falls on it, it will settle down. So it does not show. If the particle size is smaller in some cases, it may show, but for a temporary period. So it is clearly possible in the case of colloidal solution. So Tyndall effect is only in the case of colloidal solution. Okay. So this is how we compare three types of solutions, that is true solution, then colloidal solution and suspension. So you write these things clearly in a paper and send it to me. On which basis we can differentiate between these three types of solution. These are the basis I have already told you: size of the particle, nature of the solution, external appearance, diffusion, sedimentation, visibility of the particle, Brownian motion and Tyndall effect. So on this basis, how we can differentiate between these three types of solution. Then next we will discuss how the colloidal solutions are formed. So students, as you just learned that the colloidal particles are unique due to their intermediate particle size. Due to the intermediate particle size ranging from 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometer, they show some unique features and they have a great deal of application. Mostly they are used for medicinal purpose. Medicines are both used. Both used. And the case of alum. Have you seen how water is disinfected by using alum? The smaller particles, they are aggregated by use of alum. Then another application is your twinkling of star due to your Tyndall effect. The sky and sea, they look blue due to Tyndall effect. What is Tyndall effect? Now scattering of light by the colloidal particles. In simple words, scattering of light by the colloidal particles is called Tyndall effect. And what are the applications or uses of Tyndall effect? Now the sky and sea, they look blue. We can see the tail of the comet. Twinkling of star is also due to Tyndall effect. Okay. Then next we'll discuss how the colloids or colloids are formed. So here we are using two words. Colloidal solution is the solution where the particle size ranges from 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometer, and the substances which make them are known as colloids. So two things: colloidal solution is a solution where the particle size or the solute size ranges between 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometer. And what are colloids? Now those substances which make the colloidal solutions are known as colloids. And another name of colloidal solution is sol, is also sol. Then let us know how these colloidal solutions or colloids they are formed. Okay, so it is a colloidal solution is an intermediate between true solution. So if we clearly go through this one, the colloidal solution is intermediate between two things, that is suspension, where the particle size is largest, and true solution. Then based on molecular size, how the colloidal solutions can be prepared. So we'll discuss it in details later on. For the time being, there are three types of colloidal solutions: multimolecular colloids, multimolecular colloids, then macromolecular colloids, then associated colloids. Associated colloids, they are also known as micelles. Micelles. Okay. So based on the particle size, the colloidal solution can be prepared in three ways. How? Now as I told you, it is an intermediate between true solution and suspension. So in case of suspension, what is the difference? Now the particle size is the largest, it is intermediate in colloidal solution, and it is smallest in case of true solution. So with respect to particle size, we may differentiate them. So when the particle size is too small, suppose we prepare a gold solution, gold sol, or colloidal solution of gold. So how can we prepare it? Now the gold particles are extremely small in size and they do not fall in the range of colloids. Colloidal range 1 to 1000 nanometer. So in case of small particles, how colloidal solution can be formed? Now by aggregation, combination of large number of small particles. So when large number of small particles, they combine with each other so that the range of the particles comes in the colloidal range, then they form multi-molecular colloids. Example, gold soap. Gold soap means colloidal solution of gold. So this particle size of gold is extremely small and do not fall in the range of colloidal solution. So how it forms a colloidal solution or gold soap? Now when large number of gold particles, they are combined together or they are associated with each other, then their particle size increases and falls in the required region. What is the required region? Now 1 to 1000 nanometer. So when small molecules, they combine to form a bigger molecule which falls in the colloidal range, that colloid is known as multi-molecular colloid. That means small particles combine to form a colloidal particle. Okay. Then macro, just opposite. You know macro means a bigger one. So when macromolecules, they are added to a suitable solvent, what happens? The macro means the particle size is large. So in the case 1, we have increased the particle size from this to this. How? Now by addition, by combination. Then in macromolecule, the particle size is too large. Then what we have to do? Now we have to bring down to the lower range. The particle size has to be reduced. How we can reduce it? Now by dissolving a suitable solvent. So when macromolecules, that means molecules with large molecular mass or bigger particle size, they are added to a suitable solvent. What happens? Now their particle size reduces and falls in the required region. What is the required region? Now 1 to 1000 nanometer. So what is macromolecular colloid? Now when macromolecules are dissolved in a suitable solvent, their particle size reduces and falls in the colloidal range, and they are called macromolecular colloids. Example, starch solution. Starch solution, you must have seen, the starch solution is an example of colloidal solution. It cannot pass through parchment membrane. Okay. Then associated colloids. Associated colloids have the same formula of multimolecular colloids, but they are different. How? Now mostly these are strong electrolytes. These are strong electrolytes. And when their concentration exceeds a definite value, when the concentration of the electrolytes, they exceed a definite value known as critical micelle concentration, CMC. So when the concentration of the strong electrolyte exceeds a definite value, exceeds a fixed value known as critical micelle concentration, what happens? Now these electrolytes, they get associated. They get associated to form a bonds of your electrolytes. And these electrolytes now falls in the range of colloidal solution. And these bonds of electrolytes is called a micelle. These bonds of electrolytes is called a micelle. Okay. So what is the difference? In this case, small particles, they combine to form a larger unit which falls in the range. But here, these are the strong electrolytes which exceeds a definite concentration, then they get aggregated. They form a micelle and it falls in the range of colloidal solution, and only due to formation of micelles, the cleansing capacity of soap or detergent is there. Example hochi soap and detergent. So when we add them to water, you must have seen it, they repel dirt particles from the clothes. So it is due to formation of micelles. We will be discussing in details. So for the time being, you remember, when strong electrolytes, their concentration exceeds a definite value, then they form a bunch of electrolytes known as micelles. And what is that minimum concentration? Known as CMC, critical micelle concentration. Okay. So this is all about how a colloidal solution is formed. 3 ways: small combining to form intermediate, large breaking down to form intermediate, and this is the case 3, associated colloids, only in case of strong electrolytes. Okay. Again, we will be discussing it later on. Then, what are the phases of colloidal solution? So, colloidal solution is a heterogeneous solution. So, clearly it contains 2 phases. So for the time being, you listen it and note it down. In the next class, I will discuss it in details. So colloidal solution has two phases. One, the solute as you use in the case of solution. That means the component which is present in lesser extent or lesser quantity, that is called dispersed phase. So in case of colloidal solution, we will not use the term solute, we will use the term dispersed phase. Then the component which is present in larger quantity or larger concentration is called dispersion medium. Okay, so the dispersed phase gets dispersed in the dispersion medium. So we will not use the word solute and solvent, we will use the word dispersed phase for the smaller quantity and dispersion medium for the larger quantity. Okay, so clearly colloidal solution has two phases because it is a heterogeneous solution. So dispersed phase and dispersion medium. So students, so this is for today. Next class we will discuss classification of colloids. Okay, thank you.